Hey everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're having a great day. Happy, what is it? Wednesday? It's Wednesday. Yeah, I had to think about that. Anyway, um, wow, a lot to get to here at the Colts, huh? I had some. I put kind of a general first take on Instagram yesterday. I've got so much to process with this. Then this is a continuous thing with this franchise. I get labeled as a defender, apologist, if you will, of Anthony Richardson often, and frankly, I'm not trying to do that. Anthony needs a lot of work, very inexperienced. Let's go back for a little bit, okay? Let's just go back for a second here. I follow the Florida Gators, so I was well aware of Anthony Richardson coming out, and I remember saying to my son about halfway through the season, the only season he played at Florida. Wow, if he gets with one more season, Anthony Richardson I think can be pretty good. He says, "Dad, one more season, he's projected to be a top 15 pick." I'm like, "What?" So, and we know how general managers overdraft quarterbacks, right? There's four taken on average in the first round, and 5 years down the road, you're lucky if one of them's still starting. This happens over and over and over and over. But it's not Anthony Richardson's fault that this happens in the NFL, and therefore a team was ready to draft him with the fourth pick. And a lot of teams were enthralled with his skill set, and frankly, I still am. More on that later. So he comes to the Colts, and at 20 years old, 1 year, 13 starts under his belt in college. We're not talking Jaden Daniels here with 60 starts, guys, right? Or I don't know what Daniel Jones started in college. I know he played the better part of 3 seasons, maybe at Duke. At any rate, they go ahead and start him. He surprises a little bit out of the gate. His big playmaking ability was pretty evident, and frankly, I thought he looked really confident for an inexperienced quarterback starting game one as a rookie. But injuries derailed that. We know it was lots of starts and stops, and it finally stopped permanently with a shoulder injury. But starting him at that young of an age, Chris Ballard admits this, I regret doing that. Okay, well, you've already done it. So the genie's out of the bottle, the train has left the station. So now, as we've already said, he's a starter as a rookie. So when he comes back from injury, he's going to be a starter again, right? So you regret doing that, but you're going to bring him back after being out for a year with shoulder surgery and not being able to work in the offseason like you normally would. You're going to start him last year, where last year he comes out and he looks worse than he did his rookie season. You pull him out for Joe Flacco, which I don't know who thought that was going to work out. You put him back in. Here we go. Um, Somehow they missed the playoffs by one game. Conversion here or there, drop pass here and there. Jonathan Taylor dropping the ball on the 1 yard line to celebrate a would-be touchdown. These are all things that could have put the Colts into the playoffs, but they didn't. So you come out of this year, all right, Anthony Richardson's healthy. He's going to be able to work in the offseason on some things he needs to work on. And by the way, they're probably just basic quarterback things, right? That every quarterback should be working on. So he does that. You go out and get Daniel Jones. You need some quarterback competition for the young guy to push him to the next level. And we go through this process this offseason. Now, I don't know what anyone saw in this quarterback competition that set either one above the other. I think obviously Daniel Jones being a veteran probably reads defenses better, goes through progressions better. gets people in the right positions to pick up blitzes and what have you, better. That's what he should do because he's been in the league 6 years. So that makes him have a higher floor, so safer pick, especially for a regime that's fighting for their jobs and rightfully so. So the lower floor is what we're going for. Higher ceiling, not even close. Not even close. As clunky as AR can be, he has the ability to make the big play downfield to Alec Pierce or A.D. Mitchell if A.D. Mitchell can catch the ball. But he and run the ball, right? I mean, so with AR and Jonathan Taylor, you got a running game that's got literally options. That's out the window with Daniel Jones. Mr. 24, 44, and 1 career quarterback, Daniel Jones. We're done. Some people are done with Anthony Richardson. I've seen enough. And his 15 career starts. And he's 8-7. The Colts are 8-7 in those 15 career starts. But 24, 44, and 1 Daniel Jones is where we're going to go with this. And listen, do not take this as a debate as far as, because there's two things to debate here, right? There's the debate about, well, I already know who Anthony Richardson is. He's not the future. We need to move on. Okay, well, I think that's debatable. I'm not saying I know who he is, but I'm saying I haven't seen enough. And he's got enough talent. You made the decision to draft him. All right? Stop jacking around. You owe it to have a 3-year runway, and you've already lost 1 year of injury. So it is what it is. But I mean, you cannot do the stop and start crap. And you certainly don't have in Daniel Jones a quarterback that's heads and tails above what Anthony Richardson is. You will not convince me of that. And by the way, don't act like Daniel Jones hasn't played in the league for 5 years already. Okay, his record is his record. So we've been through this. Barring the 1 year, or aside from the 1 year where they made the playoffs, the Giants, it's a disaster. And you could say, well, the Giants are a train wreck. Well, what were the Colts last year? They went into the season with 3, I would call them tight end, maybe a tight end 2 and a couple tight end 3s with a rookie quarterback. You've got decent wide receiver core. I mean, Michael Pittman Jr. is good. I wouldn't call him a wide receiver 1. He's probably a wide receiver 2. But beyond that, we didn't know who else was going to catch the ball. So you didn't exactly have the best pass catching, big play, skill position team roster that you could have run out there for a young quarterback, including having a tight end as a safety valve. But at any rate, I digress on that. I think that's just another organizational failure. And now we're back to, I don't know where you expect to go with this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is a revitalization. Is it a revitalization? Maybe just a vitalization of Daniel Jones' career. Maybe we pull Sam Darnold here, right? Because everyone wants Sam Darnold in the offseason. Remember, oh, we should go out and get Sam Darnold. As if he didn't have 5 very clunky years before that. As if getting Sam Darnold comes with Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the league. One of. 1A, 1B. He and Jamar Chase. And Malik Neighbors probably will soon be there in that category. All from LSU, by the way. Crazy, isn't it? What a conference, the SEC. But I digress. So here we are. Totally underwhelmed. Not sure what the direction of the franchise is. I don't think anyone looks at Daniel Jones and says, yeah, that's the future. And I know a lot of people don't look at Anthony Richardson that way either. But again, he's finally got his shoulder healthy. So he had a full off season. Play him. Let's see what can happen with the guy that has more talent. Because right now, I think the Colts will be. I think the Colts will be pretty easy to defend. I don't think Alec Pierce and A.D. Mitchell down the field is something you're going to see a lot of. Maybe I'm wrong. You'll see a lot of you'll see a lot of check downs, crossing routes, 7 yard gains, yards per attempt will go. Um, but if they can get into 3rd and 4 and convert 3rd and 4s, then maybe that's the deal here. Is again the floor, raising the floor a little bit. I just don't understand the process. Why did you draft him in the first place? If you're not going to have a runway to figure this out, and he's not going to learn more sitting on the sidelines. I don't believe that. I think early on in your career you do. Very young, ease him in. They didn't do that. They came out of the gate and just said, "Well, we think you're capable of starting now." So that was his rookie year. So if he was capable of starting as a rookie, why would he not be capable of starting now? Uh, One could argue, well, now that we've seen the process and all that, we've seen enough. We're not inside the building. I get that. I get that. All right, fine. But from play calling and just other things and roster construction and what have you seen from Shane Steichen, Ballard, that you trust their process and their decision making? Because they're all over the map. They're all over the map. They drafted the most inexperienced quarterback to come out of college football, and as long as I can remember, start him in game 1, gets hurt, then you start him year 2, then you yank him, then you bring him back, and then you bench him again for a guy that you have 5 years of tape on. I don't get it. I don't get it. So now Daniel Jones gets hurt a lot too, and quite frankly, I don't think we've seen the end of Anthony Richardson this year. Shane Steichen says he's going to have a very long leash, or a long leash for Daniel Jones. I'm not sure what Daniel Jones has done to earn a long leash, but hey, that's what we're doing. So hope I'm wrong. Um, I just have never been more apathetic going into a season that I can remember in a long time. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm over the preseason. Apparently over this process. We'll get into the season and see if the Colts can win an opening game for the first time in a decade. I don't know. Has it been 9 years? That is unbelievable. You have all offseason to prepare for your opening game, and you can't win an opening game in 9 years. I may have that stat wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So the Colts are going to try to win an opening game for the first time in a very long time with a quarterback that's 24-44-1 or 24-45-1 or whatever in his career. Exciting times. Exciting times, everyone. All right, that's all I got. That's I've got more thoughts than that, but that's enough for right now. Have a good day, everyone, and we will talk soon.